Hello, I'm Diana Keogh, Editor-in-Chief of Sherwick.com. Today we're discussing bullying with Dr. Georgette Constantinou, who is the Administrative Director of Pediatric Psychiatry at Akron Children's Hospital. Dr. Constantinou has agreed to take questions from the internet that have come in from our members about the topic of bullying. First up is Mark, who lives in Birmingham.
Dr. Constantinou, how can I tell if my daughter is being bullied, as opposed to just, girls being mean sometimes? How can I tell if she's actually being bullied? And if I find out that she is, what am I supposed to do about it? What would be like a first step I could take to deal with it?
The answer to this really depends on your child, their sense of safety, their sense of security, their sense of self. If they're a confident kid and they can let this bounce off and you can explain to them this is part of growing up, this too shall pass, these girls will move on, they'll target someone else in a few weeks, and they can live with that and they can tough it out and you can guide them, then it's a normal developmental bump. If to your child this is insurmountable, an obstacle that makes them want to stay away from school, stay away from relationships, and most importantly, feel that there's something wrong with them and something wrong with them as a person, then you want to intervene. And you want to intervene with a therapist, and you also want your family to be as safe a place as it can possibly be.
Dr. Constantinou, it's hard to watch your kids take the meanness of other kids at school. How do you foster resilience in them?
So what you're going to try to do is not to be so indulgent with your child that you want to fix all of their hurts. I mean, that's a natural parental instinct. But you want to teach kids, this is what happens when you do this. This is what happens when you fail to follow through on this. This is the consequences of your behavior. But here's how you can move on. So you're not necessarily, when children are being mean to each other, asking them, what did you do for someone to treat you that way? It's more important to say, what can you do about how you feel? How can you regroup? How can you go back and try to deal with this situation? And or how can you move on?
Dr. Constantinou, when I see my child being a victim of bullying, how do I keep my emotions in check and not take it so personally?
You deal with it by understanding that, the biggest thing that all of us have a challenge with, life isn't fair. And we do not have the ability to create a perfect world for our kids. So you have to start there. So even if I would like, and this actually happened to my own son, where he got in a situation in high school where he was not able to stay with the soccer team because of behaviors that they were doing, and they put a lot of heat on him for leaving the team. He actually developed an interest in art and really truly did go to the art room during lunch because he didn't feel comfortable. And this went on for a few months and then it moved on. So I didn't even know he had found that solution, but I complimented him for it because it was a way of not stressing himself every day at lunch and actually acquiring a new skill and a new love. So you have to, inside, I was like, he doesn't eat lunch with all of the kids. Oh my gosh, can I take him to school and walk him around the tables? But I allowed him to make his own decision, and it turned out to be a very healthy one for him.
Dr. Constantinou, a friend recently overheard her daughter talk on the phone about the other girls in her class in a not very kind way. My friend wants to know, what do you do if you're concerned that your own child is a bully?
So the first thing I would do is to check myself and ask myself, does she see me doing this? And if so, I would have to own that. So if I'm talking meanly about a relative, a friend, a neighbor, on a telephone or with a group of women that are over for coffee, and she's seen that and I haven't recognized that I'm not being a good role model there, it's a great way to start a conversation, which is to start by saying, I've observed when I see you at a birthday party that you talk meanly about other girls, you seem to laugh and giggle and exclude someone else, and I worry about that because that's really not the way that I think we should be acting. I need to share with you that sometimes Mom's done that too, and those are things I'm not proud of, and that's something that I need to work on. I want to be the kind of mom that practices what I preach, and probably haven't always practiced what I preach. Let's talk about that. This might be something we could work on together because it's not a behavior that we value.
Dr. Constantinou, thank you so much for joining us here on Sherwick.com. This has been great information. If you'd like more on the topic of bullying, please go to our website at www.sherwick.com.